Hey everyone, Emmanuel here. In this chapter, I'm going to be talking to you about breath holds. So breath holds are very interesting. So generally speaking, you don't really want to hold your breath, okay? Now, there is some caveats to this because there's going to be times where you might need to hold your breath underwater, a smoke-filled room, you might be choking on something, and so it's not ideal, but breath holds are also an interesting way to understand what not to do. So that's what I kind of get out of breath holds is when I work with my breath holds, I try to say to myself, that's what I say to myself is, God, I don't want to hold my breath. The human body really doesn't work optimally when you restrict the breathing. It works best when there's a very constant and fluid breath cycle happening. So how would you use breath holds? And how I would use breath holds and how I would start with them is quite simply take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, take a deep breath in, and then hold your breath. And what you want to do is hold it comfortably. Don't let yourself get to the point of panic. Just hold it to the point where it feels comfortable, and then as soon as it starts to feel uncomfortable, let it go. So hold it kind of comfortably. Now, I actually found a real great use for this. So a lot of you know I do a lot of archery competitions as well as pistol competitions as well. Not so much on the tactical, but much more on the sports aspect of both archery and pistol shooting. And you realize that at some point you're going to be holding your breath because on the inhale there's a rise to the body, and on an exhale there's a down to the body. So there's kind of this little wave that's going on, internal and external. When I hold my breath, or when you're holding your breath just for a very small period of time, maybe like 2-3 seconds, the body just stills and it gets to the place where there's the least amount of movement. You're never going to ever be able to be completely still. Your body will start to kind of float and have a very constant float if you just learn how to hold your breath in a calm way, meaning not letting yourself get to a panic state. So the breath holds that you should first start is just breathe in normally, breathe out normally, breathe in normally, and then just stop breathing, just hold your breath. And as soon as it feels uncomfortable or starts to get panicky, just breathe. So you're teaching yourself how to best hold your breath without a panic associated with it, okay? Now, what you don't want to get into is challenging yourself to see how long you can hold it. This is fine to do, but you shouldn't do that on a regular basis. I find that prolonged breath holds, like practicing them every day, is not a very good thing. The body doesn't accept this very well. It doesn't. I don't know how to explain it other than it just feels off doing it for a prolonged period of time. So there's 3 ways of looking at breath holds. You can take a deep breath in and then hold your breath and then breathe when you got to, or you can take a deep breath in, you can take a real deep breath out and let everything out, so empty your lungs and then hold it. Or you can take a deep breath in and you can kind of take a half a breath out, so you're kind of in the middle. So your lungs aren't full, your lungs aren't empty, they're kind of half. And try holding your breath and see which one of those states feels a little bit better. For myself, I find half in, half out the most comfortable to hold. When I take a real deep breath in and then hold it, I feel like my lungs are burdened to hold on to this weight. And then when I empty out all my lungs, it seems like a natural reflex. The lungs want to inhale, and then I'm stopping that, so it becomes something I'm actively doing. But when I'm in and I just take a half a breath out, I kind of feel as comfortable as I can be in a breath hold. So there's not too much air or too little air to burden me. It's just the perfect amount. So when you're practicing breath holds, you want to do them just like you started with the breathing, either laying down, sitting, standing. So just in a still with no movement, and see how long you can do it. It will vary day to day. Don't make it a competition. It doesn't mean if you did 20 seconds it's better than 30 seconds or 10 seconds. It's just that day and that moment, that's how you could hold your breath. The biggest thing here is to not perfect breath holds, but to understand their effects on you and to understand the effect on you particularly. Everybody's going to be a little different, right? But it will have varying effects on everybody, both physically and psychologically, and that's up to you to explore and understand. And then you would insert movement into it. So then I would start with walking and running, or moving on the ground in any directions. Just like you started off with breathing in and out, you're just now adding, breath hold. The trick to doing this as well is, another caveat is, let's say I hold my breath, so I'll do it right now. So I'll take a deep breath in, I'll hold my breath, and then I breathe. Now, I only held it for a little bit because of the video, but it bothered me a little bit. So my main goal now is to recover myself. So I'm gonna practice my breathing. And then I start to feel as calm as I did before I started the breath holds. Now I'm gonna start it again. So you don't, do a breath hold and okay, here we go again. Like, fully recover yourself physically and also mentally, okay? This is important as well. Like, make sure, because the breath holds agitate the mind as well and the psyche. So you want to make sure that you fully recover before you do it again. This particular stuff, quality always wins over the quantity here, right? You don't need a lot of breath holds to teach you something. Just a few will do more than enough. So to recap, is you're going to practice your breath holds, and you're going to get to a place where it just feels uncomfortable and you breathe. Don't get to a panic place. Don't get to a place where you're completely ready to black out or get irritated. You just want to get to the point where this is not comfortable anymore and start to breathe. And naturally, you'll start to teach yourself how to hold your breath in a calm state, okay? In a calm place, not to panic or overreact, okay? So you're gonna try it with your lungs full, you're gonna try it with your lungs empty, you're gonna try half and half, lying down, sitting, standing, and easy to practice at work, easy to practice at home, easy to practice on the bus. Nobody will even know what you're doing. And then you're gonna practice it with movement, okay? Whether it's walking, running, or moving on the ground, or any kind of pace, as long as there's a movement, you can try it. Even working around the house, There are times I've been walking outside and I said, from this tree to that tree, I'm gonna hold my breath. And then from this place to that car, I'm gonna hold my breath. And it's just little challenges that I put into myself, and then I fully recover myself. You don't have to do like 1,000 of them. Now, I'll share with you a little trick that was shown to me. I can't remember who, but it's worked so well. So when you breathe in, instead of holding your breath, I've seen people holding their breath almost in their head. So it's like you see the whole face is turning red, and it's almost like your eyes and your whole head is gonna blow. What I try to imagine is a little valve on the base of my neck. So if you could imagine like a valve that you turn on and off, or like a water hose, you turn the water off, turn the water on. So when I take a deep breath in, instead of holding my breath in my face, I imagine this valve that I kind of shut off, and I hold my breath here. And then I turn the valve on and I breathe again. So it's such an interesting, because it's just an idea or a visual. And I've shown this to so many people over the years, and it works. Every one of them is like, can do this breath hold a noticeable amount better. So don't hold your breath in your head, but hold it more towards your neck, okay? So you can shut it on or shut it off, right? So just think about that in the most, in simplest ways. When you take a deep breath in, shut it off, turn it on to breathe. The same thing if it's reversed, right? You're holding your breath here, your head, you're not getting a headache, you're not getting, you're not doing anything like that. There are definitely some medical considerations. People with high blood pressure and things like that should be a little bit more cautious. That's why I'm telling you, don't go to the point where it's extreme. Start slow. Don't scare yourself. Like, it's a big topic of not Scaring yourself doesn't produce better results, and it doesn't even have to be a high-level scare. A low-level scare in the body causes enough of an issue, right? So I hope this helps, and I hope you practice it. And again, what I personally get out of breath holds is it shows me clearly what not to do. Like, I don't want to hold my breath unless it's absolutely necessary. In other words, underwater, in a smoke-filled room, like these kind of things, yes, you can't take a breath, right? In martial arts, you could be getting choked mildly and the breathing is restricted, and you still need to work, right? You still need to survive this situation. So you need to understand the capacity at which you can work without breath and what the quality of your work is like with breath. That's very important, guys. It's as diligent as any other martial arts skill. So practice inhaling and exhaling the stuff you've learned before this video diligently, but then also add this stuff into your training. I don't know, once a month, something like that. It clearly shows you what you don't want, and it helps you understand breathing from a better perspective too, because when I know exactly what I don't want, then it highlights what I do want. So after an hour of doing breath hold work, whether it's push-ups or running or leg raises or body raises or lying down, any way you can do, you can even do the exercise. I didn't mention that. All the exercise can be done with breath hold. You can do 10 push-ups holding your breath, recover yourself. 10 squats holding your breath, recover yourself. Any of that can be added. Any movement, any exercise can be added in. And again, the main goal being to fully recover yourself. And what I get out of doing that work is how important and how even 10 seconds or how much of a difference my body feels. It feels 3 or 4 times worse when I hold my breath. So it reaffirms how important the breathing is to me and how we really need to focus on it. And what generally happens is we start to train in martial arts and we get absorbed with something else. So if I'm wrestling, I'm all my focus on wrestling and getting this guy in a hold or doing something, and I forgot my breathing. And then I look at the impacts, and then I understand tomorrow when I'm getting really tired, when I'm doing an activity training, that I forgot my breathing. So and I know this because I feel what I didn't want. I feel tired and sweaty and completely exhausted. So super important to think about that. So you now have another layer to your training where you can actually add breath hold work to your training to help you understand why breathing is more important and to give you a skill set of how to operate in less than ideal situations of not being able to breathe. Hope this helps, and I'll show you more in the up and coming videos. Bye-bye.